pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kevin Guffey with Crossroads Christian Church will lead us in prayer this morning.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this time that we can gather together. We thank you for this city. We thank you for who you are and for how you watch over us. And God, we just want to give you praise, and we want to give you glory for this place that we call home. And we thank you for each person here. We thank you for how each one gives of their time and energy and resources to serve this community. I thank you for just how you have made each one, and Father, we just thank you for how they serve. We thank you for our law enforcement. We thank you for all those who work to keep the city clean and beautiful, and those who are working to look into the future to bring businesses in. And we thank you for all those who run businesses and keep the economy going. And Father, we thank you for each one of our citizens. And Father, may we all work together to make this a great place to live. So today, as they conduct this meeting, I pray that you will give wisdom, that you will give peace, that you will give guidance, that we will seek to understand before we seek to be understood, that we will see each other as people and not see problems, but that we will see opportunities to grow. And so, Father, I pray that you will lead this meeting. Father, I particularly pray for the hiring process of the new city manager. I thank you for Mrs. Clements and the work that she has done, and just pray that for the continued wisdom and guidance to put the right person in this position to continue in the city manager position. So God, we just pray that we will all work together in this city and in our community to make it a great place to live. And we thank you for all those who are working hard to do that. May you bless this meeting today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Item 4, oral communications from the audience.
All right, this is the section of the meeting where we open up the podium for comments from the audience for items not on the agenda. If you have something to say, please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
My name's Karen Taylor, and I live on North Elm, and I know all of you have heard from me multiple times, but I am still concerned about the noise in the city. We have one neighbor in particular that has an extremely loud vehicle. He controls when we sleep. He controls when we can go in our front yard, if we can go in our yard, and it's all hours of the day and night. There's days he'll even just drive up and down the street as loud as he can. And then added to that, we have a guy a block down that works on race cars. Not his race car, everybody else's race cars. And that also is extremely loud. And we get days where the Mustang's going and the race car's going, and it's just miserable.
We are looking at options on what can be done about this. We're just gonna have to keep following up on it. I don't have an answer for you today on this because there's other noise complaints as well. And how do we try to find a rule that in one fell swoop we can kind of control a lot of it?
Yeah, I sure hope you can.
We're working on it.
And Ms. Taylor, I do want to say thank you for coming today, and I hope that this inspires other people who might be having the same type of issue, whether it's with a vehicle or with a neighbor who likes to party or what have you. I would hope that people start to come forward because we're having the conversation about, what would a noise ordinance look like if it's possible, what would enforcement look like, all of that. It's going to take some more time for us to kind of dig into it, but if we hear from more people about it, that just makes a stronger case for the community that that we would take up the charge, and it helps us kind of create a policy that meets the needs of everybody while also protecting people who have the right to party. I want to throw that out there, or have the right to work on race cars without being a nuisance. I emailed you and let you know we have a neighbor who does the same thing. Works on a Mustang actually, and then drives it up and down the street. Doesn't care what time of day it is, but it can be a little annoying. I don't think it's to the degree that your neighbor is, but it is a conversation that we're having, and thank you for coming today. I know it takes some bravery, so thank you.
Well, I've tried to get my neighbors to come or make complaints, but they'll call me and complain all day long. But to actually get them to do anything, one of them I know is concerned about her job, but the rest of them, they just complain to me. So I guess I'm complaining for everybody.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Good morning. Jackson Swearer, 103 West 22nd.
I'm Lauren Storm. I'm 12 West 21st.
Great. Those are right around the corner from each other. That's a coincidence, though. We do work together. I'm with Startup Hutch, and we're here today to spread the word a little bit about an upcoming manufacturing expo that Startup Hutch and Greater Hutch are collaborating on. This idea came about from one of my board members who works kind of in the engineering and manufacturing space, who talked to us about a concept called a reverse vendor expo. Basically, the idea is you bring in, rather than having the big booths be the big companies, you bring in the smaller supplier folks and you let them have the booths and make the emphasis about them. Well, we don't quite have a lot of those folks in our region. We have many, but not enough to fill out a whole expo hall. So we're having a different kind of event where we're inviting all of our different people in the manufacturing sector to come together for an expo. That's people who provide services in the manufacturing sector, suppliers, and also our larger manufacturers, hoping to build some better connections and networking within that industry here in Reno County. It's been a great collaboration to try to get this going, and I'm going to hand it over to Lauren to let her share some of the vital details about the event.
So we're making really great progress and headway, some great partnerships being formed. We have a really good representation of those producers, suppliers, and service providers already. Companies like Superior Boiler, Luminous Neon, Adams Brown, SBA, Hutchinson, their Business Industry Institute, and both Kansas Manufacturing Solutions and Central Kansas manufacturers are going to be represented there. CKMN, the Central Kansas Manufacturing Network, has also diverted their bi-monthly meeting so that their membership can attend the expo and take advantage of the networking. From a gracious sponsorship from Startup Hutch, this is completely free to those who are registering. It also includes 2 lunch vouchers with the local concessions at Sunflower South on November 8th. The expo itself will be from 9 to 5. And there's also a unique opportunity, not just for networking and unique connections from our area manufacturers, but also for educating our future workforce. We are partnering and including another Career Quest Day. Today is another education day where 6th graders in Reno County explore major industry sectors. So today they are exploring Hutchinson, HCTEA, and Hutchinson Fire Science to learn about educational and training opportunities for careers in our community. And then on the 8th, during the expo, they are going to explore careers in Manufacturing Day. So for 2-hour periods, we are going to have about 400 6th graders throughout the day explore through a scavenger hunt through the booths, and then also have opportunities for participants to give presentations for them to learn and explore careers in manufacturing. So if there's anyone that you know of that or companies that need to be involved, we are filling up fast, and we're looking forward to creating a really great event, especially for future opportunities for networking in manufacturing in our community.
I just want to close by saying I'm really excited about the partnership, particularly the Career Quest, to be able to bring kids in and explore what kinds of opportunities there are right here in our community for jobs. And also, I have to say, just as a small shameless plug at the end, that if none of that sounded like that was you, but you're interested in Startup Hutch and entrepreneurship and business ownership, we do have a mingle tonight at Sandhills Brewing at 5:30. So that would be a great opportunity to come out and learn more. If you're not in the manufacturing sector, but you're curious about all of this and want to get connected, come out tonight.
I have a question, Lauren. Is I had the career quest on my calendar for tomorrow.
Yes.
Is it today or is it tomorrow?
So
18th?
308 is tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Today is, so we split up between, because there are over 650 sixth graders
Yeah.
in Reno County. The 10th was USD 313, so kids from Bueller had this experience last Tuesday.
Okay.
Today is USD 309, 310, 311, 312, Central Christian and Holy Cross, and then tomorrow is 308.
Okay, that's why I have tomorrow only on my calendar. That makes sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Great, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Kevin Irwin, the director of the 911 Center. Just a simple reminder, we have the 40th anniversary open house is scheduled for next Saturday, October 28th, at LEC. We're actually located in the basement, but it's going to be scheduled from noon to 4. You're all welcome to come out. Public's invited. Have a simple walk through the center, and you can actually get a kind of an insight on the 911 Center. So we just want to invite everybody out, including the public. But it's the 40th anniversary of the consolidation of the center between Reno County and the city of Hutchinson. So we welcome everybody. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Kevin.
Anyone else for comments not on the agenda? If not, next item, please.
Item 5, consent agenda.
Any of your questions or comments or motions from city council members?
I move to approve the consent agenda and authorize the mayor to sign.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Please call roll.
Garza.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss.
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Next item, please.
Item 6A, public hearing for water line replacement funded by the State Revolving Loan Fund Program.
I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I move to open to public hearing.
Second.
Please call roll.
Garza.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss.
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Brian Clennon. I'm the Director of Public Works, and with me today is Jamie Duncan, our administrative staff aide. Jamie is going to be passing around a sign-in sheet. This is a public hearing, and we need to document who all was here in attendance for our public hearing. So city staff is planning to submit an SRF loan application for our 2024 water line replacement program. And a couple of reasons for wanting to go through this process. One is the loan through this SRF program is about 60% of the market rate. So right now, we could get a loan for about 2.3%, the interest rate of 2.3%. The second thing is this water line project does qualify for some principal forgiveness of up to 30% of the project. It's capped at $1 million. So we could be looking at potentially up to $360,000 of principal forgiveness. I have been told that most likely, based on where our project was ranked and other projects ahead of us, most likely we won't be eligible, or that money would run out before it gets to our project. But there is a chance to get some of that.
Can I ask a question on that real quick?
You bet.
Is it based on timing or is it based on need or size of the community?
Yeah, it's ranked, and so it's more about the need of that particular project and probably the impact that it makes to the community. So probably more treatment type projects and issues that the communities are having.
Okay.
I had the
would
same
help them
question, so thank you.
get ranked. Yeah. So this graph just kind of shows some of the issues that we're having with our water line system out there. We've got about 310 miles of water line that serve this community. And over the last 5 years, we've averaged 60 main breaks a year. And the last few years have been particularly challenging. 82 main breaks in 2021, 81 main breaks in 2022, and so far this year we've had 65 main breaks. So quite a few main breaks for the amount of pipe that we have in our community, which shows that we definitely have an issue with aging infrastructure, and we need to begin investing in the replacement of that infrastructure. So a number of years ago, the city used an AWWA modeling program to help us identify how much water line we should be replacing in our community every year. And that model's suggesting that we should be replacing 3.4 miles of water line in 2024. Now, based on the amount of revenue that we're able to generate, we're proposing to replace 1.4 miles. So it's essentially how much we can afford to replace based on the revenue that we're generating from our utility. This model also helped us focus on the,
so
yeah.
That 1.4, now is that, you said based on the city's revenue. So the 1.4 is going to be done off to the side out of the city revenue, and then this would be additional to that? Is that, no?
No. So the 1.4, so we're generating enough revenue to pay off this particular bond. And so we're going to be bonding this, but looking at our future expenses, including investment into this project, we can afford to replace 1.4 miles going through this process.
Okay, which is half of, or less than half of what
That's right.
the study said we needed to be doing.
That's correct.
And that's borrowing this money to do the 1.4.
That's right.
miles.
That's right. Now, we do have rate increases proposed through 2027, and so hopefully every year we're going to be able to invest just a little bit more into the replacement program. It all depends on costs, and we haven't bid our 2023 project yet, so I'm very anxious to see what those construction costs come in at. That's going to tell us a lot about, you know, what we had planned to do and whether we're going to be able to execute that plan going forward or not. Any other questions on that? Okay, so the model also helped us focus in on the age of the pipe, the material of the pipe, and the size of the pipe that are most likely to fail. And this next graph is going to help us dig into some of that data just a little bit more. So I'm going to turn on the laser pointer. So let's focus in on 1950. So this is, again, age of the water line versus the water line breaks. So this shaded line basically shows how much pipe was built in each decade. So let's focus on the 1950s. So you can see that we had about 13% of the pipe that's currently in service was installed in the 1950s. The bars indicate the amount of water main breaks attributed to that decade of pipe. So you can see that, again, 13% of the pipe was built in the 1950s, but about 31% of our main breaks are happening on pipe that were built in the 1950s.
And of the 1.4 miles to be replaced,
Right.
we're concentrating on areas that are high probability.
We are.
Okay.
Why is the, what was so defective about the pipe that was put in the 50s? I mean, clearly, what is the problem, or what was the problem?
You know, I don't know 100%. I've been told, or I've heard rumors that, you know, it was World War II in the 1940s, and so there's a lot of steel going to build other things than waterline pipe, and so the quality of the steel used to build the cast iron pipes was not of the highest quality in the 1950s. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's maybe a old wives' tale. I don't know. But
I mean, you would expect the 1910 and 1920 and all, I mean, the 100-year-old stuff, but
yeah. All right. This is the material of the waterline versus waterline breaks. So you can see, again, that cast iron pipe is accounting for about 94% of the water main breaks. And it, again, represents about 62% of the system. And then the size of the waterline versus waterline breaks. Again, the 6-inch pipe kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. 80% of our main breaks are happening on that 6-inch pipe, and it represents about 38% of the system.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a link to that being in residential areas, or is it mostly in, like, on the core streets? What's the trend for the location of the 6-inch pipe?
Yeah, the 6-inch pipe is more of our distribution pipe, so it is more in the residential neighborhoods, serving those customers.
Okay.
So with all that being said, we have focused our project for 2024 in an area right around Hutch High, from 9th to 16th and from Maple to Cochran, to do some of those targeted water line replacements. All these pipes were installed between 1922 and 1961. They are made of cast iron pipe and all are 6 inches in diameter. And we also have a high history of main breaks where 82 water main breaks have occurred on these particular pipes. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
As these repairs are being made, are we doing everything in-house with our own laborers, or are we using outside contractors for this work?
For the main break repairs?
Yeah, for all the repair.
Yeah, the repairs are all done by in-house.
In-house, okay. And how much notice will people receive, considering that this, if those people are watching today, they know it's happening, but what's our mechanism of notifying people of the work that they can anticipate?
Of the water line replacement projects or a main break?
Just to clarify,
replacement.
the water main replacement project is going to be done in-house?
No.
Okay.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Yeah.
I thought
Okay.
you were talking about.
I wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
repairs?
the replacement.
Gotcha.
So going back to where you had the Hutch High neighborhood
Yeah.
pulled up, is that going to be done by our own people?
No.
Okay.
We are going to contract that
Okay.
out. So we'll have engineered plans. We'll bid that project out.
Okay. And how much notice will the residents get of the project?
So there will be a public information.
Okay.
They'll be sent letters notifying
Okay.
them of the project and of the schedules that they can anticipate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know a lot of people had their yards torn up this past summer by Idea Tech and their contractors, and I think we all caught some grief about that and the lack of notification of who is the contractor, where do they file a complaint to, and some of the quality of what was left behind. I heard that numerous times, so I just want to make sure that we're giving people advance notice and
Right.
letting them know, what the scope of the project is, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions? This is a public hearing.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what street did you say, Maple to where?
Oh, Maple to Cochran?
Cochran?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please come up to the podium if you have questions? Yeah, please. No, you're good.
Brian, if you put the graph back up.
You bet.
Miriam Kitson, 7 Sunflower Avenue.
Thank you.
This is across the street from my neighborhood, but it's where my in-laws live, so I was just clarifying questions for them. So my first question was a clarification on what the streets were. And then my second question was, is there...
And just to clarify, so
Oh, yeah.
just those green lines are the only ones being replaced. So it's very targeted and spotty. It's not like the whole neighborhood is getting it.
That's my in-laws' house.
Okay.
Which is fine. It's just they just put in a lovely garden that got torn up by a gas leak, and then so just hey, before they replant, find out what the dates are if it's going to be on their street. So is there, if this goes through, is there like a general ETA for 2024, 2025, spring, fall?
Yeah. So this hasn't even started survey and design.
Oh, okay. So
we'll probably
be a
within
minute.
12 to 18 months.
All right.
Before this project's complete. Yeah.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Brian, one more question. How invasive will this be into the street or the curb? Are we going to rebuild some of those things as we go that would make sense to do if we're tearing up something anyway?
Right. So the idea is to try to minimize the amount of street that we're going to tear up. So typically what we've tried to do is put this behind the curb and gutter and put the new water line in those locations. Trying again, we're really wanting to save our money for replacement of water line and not have to spend it building curb and rebuilding streets.
I get that, but I don't
Yeah.
want to do stuff twice if
Yeah.
we can avoid it.
Right. And again, none of this has been designed yet, so I don't know the specifics on exactly.
So you're thinking like right under the curb area?
I
more
would
than
think
the street?
the goal would be in the right of way, so behind the curb.
And do you just abandon the old lines?
Yes.
Gotcha.
On the breaks, are we gathering data as to if we can tell what caused the break? Is it extreme drought? Is it different environmental factors, or is it to where we can identify? Is it tree roots to where we can identify other areas that might be susceptible to repair, needs of repair soon?
You know, I would say we're probably not gathering a whole lot of data to that end.
If it's possible.
Yeah, and I will see the pipe, you know, they'll bring chunks of it back in, and what I've seen a lot of times is just rusting from the outside in is what's eating away at these pipes. And I think that the drought over the last 2 years has contributed to that 81 and 82 number. More water usage, more water flowing through those pipes, and then the dry conditions potentially shifting the ground a little bit to where those water lines are.
Okay. Any more public questions? If the council doesn't have any more questions, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I didn't catch which one of you was first on that.
Mr. Fast.
Second. She was first.
Okay. Not so fast, are you?
She's deleting what
Not
she
so
had.
fast.
All right. When you're done, please call roll.
Garza,
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing the completion of an application to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment regarding a loan from the Kansas Public Water Supply Loan Fund and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second that.
Any questions on this? If not, please call.
Garza,
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next item, please.
Item 7A, consider resolution of support for the submission of a moderate housing grant application for the Hutch Landmark Project.
I'm going to be Jim's site navigator this morning because we know he's gone. But council, you're going to be familiar with this because we've approved the exact same resolution before. Okay, this is for the Stamey Hotel project, and you can see the plans attached to the memo. It is for a resolution of support, so the submission of an MIH moderate income housing grant. We very much want that building to be repurposed and to be restored, and the moderate income housing grant will be of great assistance in doing so, and it helps with the other significant housing options we've had in the downtown area. There really is no reason not to approve this resolution of support, so I'd ask you to do so.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, then my only question is, you said we've already approved this once, why are we having to do it again?
You needed a current resolution for the additional application. This is the second go-around.
They submitted and were not approved in the first go-around, so they're resubmitting for this next grant cycle.
And they needed a current resolution for it.
Okay, and this doesn't deter us from other
No,
projects that we are
No.
hopefully still pursuing.
Correct.
correct.
Did the state provide any feedback about the denial?
We received a form letter that said we were not approved. To be honest, we had received a grant the year prior, and it's historically we've rarely, I don't think, ever seen where a city has gotten two in a row. And so that was.
And they do try to spread them
Yeah.
around the state so that they're not all concentrated in one area.
I have a question. What's the likelihood of the project moving forward without the grant?
I will say I have a meeting tomorrow with this group. They're actively pursuing and are very focused on seeing this come to fruition. There's lots of different things. We have a whole master plan for the downtown. We're waiting for those results, and quite honestly, it would be a benefit to the city to get this on the tax rolls.
I just might remind folks that it's 40 units,
Correct.
moderate income units.
And they're talking about some commercial on the ground level.
Yes. Certainly very good for our downtown. I'll move to accept and approve the request by Hutch Landmark Project for a resolution of support to to submit a moderate income housing state-funded developer-led grant and accept, if awarded, the funding to then enter into development agreement with Hutch Landmark Project to build the units and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents.
I second.
Any other questions? No. If not, let's start roll.
Garza.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss.
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Next item, please.
Item 8, report of city officials.
Mr. Conklin, you want to start us off today?
Yes, I'd be happy to. My main discussion would be about the city manager process. We're all, heavily invested in trying to solve this situation, and there is still nothing more important on our agenda at all, not even close to coming up with the right resolution here. The only other thing that I would bring forth is, and it's tied to that, is that one of the main things that our city council needs to do, that needs to accept responsibility for, is the job creation and population increase. And I'm not saying that we aren't. I'm just saying that needs to be at the very front and top of our job, of what we do. We must solve this, and that is make it easier for companies to expand internally here in Reno County and in Hutchinson, to want to come here. There are many facets to that, including more housing, which we're trying to come up with incentives that do that. We need to deal with our south side development that is just languishing, and we need to come up with population increase, and that we got to have housing to do that. We got to have jobs to do that. We got to have parks and recreation to do that. We got to have but these are actually fairly easily measurable things as to how are we doing, and that needs to be at the very front of every meeting, of everything that we're thinking about doing, who we're going to hire, who we're going to work with. This is a critical time that we just must turn the direction, and we must not get deterred from keeping that at the top of our agenda. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I don't think anyone feels much differently than that.
No, that's.
Ms. Goss, do you have some comments?
Sure. Well, I've already increased the population of Hutch by 4 by moving home. And then I convinced my sister and her family to move back. So I'm responsible for 9 of those, of the population here. I want to say thank you to Ms. Kitson. Was that your name? Okay. Thank you for coming today. It's nice to see people engaged in the process before their street is torn up and then they say, well, I had no idea this was happening. So thank you for coming. And I hope that your in-laws are able to tell their neighbors what you learned today, and everybody can be engaged in the process. I do want to mention that today is the final day to register to vote in the November election. With everything happening in the political world, I encourage people to stay local and intentional, especially on the school board races that are happening in Reno County. They are very crowded races, but they are very important. I attended Mr. Garza's forum on Saturday. We talked about things like street repair, the lack of a noise ordinance, the hotel. Thank you to the city staff who came, including Justin, Mary Grace, as well as Denise Gilliland from Hutch Rec. We also talked about the need for reinvestment in the southwest and southeast districts, and everybody kind of spitballed some ideas and prioritizing projects for the future and that sort of thing. So I think the community feedback was it was really good. It was a good event. So thank you for having us. Thank you to the zone, and thanks for letting me bring my little one, because he was especially vocal the entire time.
He was a new citizen.
He is, yes.
And your put him where you put him was a good deal. It was a new child development thing. So.
Yes, I loved it. I'm through. Thank you.
Mr. Garza, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'd like to say on what Ms. Goss said. We had a good meeting on the 14th. We had the engineering Justin there. Also had Miss Gillen there, Denise Gillen there, report. And then we had our Mary Grace there, who always does a great job answering questions and doing us a good deed. And Mr. Pastor, appreciate you letting us have the building. So I don't know how much more I can say to the citizens. You need to come to the meetings. The meetings are great. You drink some coffee and donuts, and you can talk about anything in the city you want to know. We try to get you informed as much as we could. So other than that, I hope it was a really good meeting. It was. And I'm going to tell you something. There's a little cage there. I don't want to make it look in your minds. There's a little cage there that the pastor puts in there. Basketball cage that he puts in there for the kids playing basketball, but Mrs. Goss put her son in there in the cage, and you had to be there. Put her son, and I told the audience that's the new child care center here. But that was good. He did a good job.
He had fun.
So other than that, that's all I have. Thank you,
Mr. Fast.
Sure. Steve, sorry I wasn't able to attend. I will say that was one of the most enjoyable meetings that I did attend.
Yes.
It was on a Saturday morning, low-key, full of information. If you're wanting to get engaged in this city, that's where you need to be once a month on a Saturday morning.
Well, it has childcare right there.
And it has a cage, apparently, for your children. I've got a list of some things I want to check on.
Yep.
First thing would be Avenue A Park cameras. I know that we are beginning to see more activity in that park again. Have been contacted by a couple close businesses down there. Want to make sure that we're still on track, or that the cameras have been installed.
They have not at this point. We're still working on that.
Okay. Just so we don't forget about that. And I don't know that the cameras are going to change anything, but it's a small thing for quality of life issues. The next thing, 30th and Halstead, the left turn signal. I'm trying to, I've heard plenty of angst about the road construction going on 30th. And my response is, we're trying to make our road better, and here's what's coming. A protected left turn for east and westbound traffic at 30th and Halstead. Where are we at with that?
So the traffic signal pole itself is a temporary pole at this moment. The pole has been ordered, but ironically, that's a 6 to 9 month It takes that long to get and then that is the process. The techs are working. The intent is to make a left turn there and to look at it similar to what we do in other areas of the city, because we don't have a designated turn lane, but we feel confident that there's a way to set up the traffic signal lights to help with that congestion.
And that's what I like about that particular project. It probably won't even require any restriping. It's just reprogramming of a traffic signal and getting a left turn signal. It very little expense to the city, but I think it will really help
I have a
move traffic.
question.
Yes.
Is that something that the temporary light can be programmed?
It's
since
the
it's already
process
up?
right now. We're looking into that, but it was a timing of getting everything done at the same time.
Would it create more work to
Potentially
Okay.
And when is the poll coming?
next spring.
Next spring. Wow.
Yeah, 6 to 9 months to get the pole. And
Okay.
it's- yeah.
Next thing I have is related to the 30th and Halsted area. I had a gentleman that works at RCEC, I believe he's an occupational therapist, and he said he's been noticing pedestrians going to Prairie Star with little kids or whatever, eastbound from Halsted, and there's no sidewalk there. And he said there's yards with stickers in them, and they're just trying to get to their health care, to Prairie Star. And so, he was just asking, can we put a sidewalk in on the north side of 30th, Halsted East to Prairie Star? Okay. I've reached out to some decision makers at Prairie Star, and they're certainly willing to partner with the city on getting sidewalks on the north side of 30th. There's already sidewalks coming east on the south side of 30th, but it stops at Halsted.
Yes.
Just seeing if we had any consensus on the council, or if that's something. I think it's probably a small, in the big scheme of things, would not cost a lot of money and might serve some people that live, I'm going to say north of the hospital there, that or
just for clarification, what I think I'm hearing you say is that there's some interest with Prairie Star to work with the city to potentially combine to get the sidewalk there.
Yes, from Halsted East to Prairie Star.
Okay, I'd love to have that information. We'll get some workups to understand the economics to that, and then we can talk to Prairie Star and see where we are with that.
Just trying to start the conversation. I know that Prairie Star is very interested in partnering with us, at least.
Okay.
Possibly. Last thing, we are going to turn on an eternal flame at the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial near the post office at First and Walnut. That will be November 10th at 11 a.m. Justin and his crew with the Parks Department has done a great job of getting that project moved along, and it is going to happen on November 10th at 11 a.m. So
great.
Please join us. The chamber kind of took the lead on a ribbon cutting, and just add to our downtown with at very little cost to the city. Kansas Gas has partnered with us, and a couple individuals will also pay for the gas for a year or two, and I think we may have some more buy-in from the community foundation. So I think that is all.
All right. Well, I'd like to comment on the city manager process. Just last week, I want to show this as appreciation. I think we put about 14 hours in between staff, council, and community members in regards to the more than 14 hours. I'm talking about just the time here in the office last week during interviews, about 14 hours. I know there was a lot of time put into it before that, and we still have more to do. So I just want to make sure everyone's appreciated. The election process, I agree. This is I think our last city council meeting before the election. Getting involved in the elections is important. A lot of school board positions. Based on yard signs, I don't know who this beer guy is, but I think he's doing a really good job in this election.
He's going to win.
Because I see his signs all over the place.
Fire chief.
Free beer. He must not think things are going too well.
Is the fire chief an elected position? Right? Wondered about that.
Anyway, I just want to make sure to get those two notes out there, and I'll hand it over to Mary Grace, please.
Couple things of note that I want to reference. Do appreciate all the hard work everybody's putting in to the focus on finding the next person that's going to fill this seat, and I'm really happy with the focus everybody's put into this. I'm excited. Had a great conversation with the developer for the new Hilton Garden, the new hotel that's going to have 212 rooms, and with a convention center of 8,000 to 10,000 square feet. Also, we'll have an old Chicago restaurant in it. But the good news is we are going to break ground. The developer has told me the 30th of this month is our plan, and so I'm very excited about that. I have, voiced my concerns with we're not just going to break ground and let it sit. that don't break ground if you're not ready to move. And so we've had some really good meetings with the city, with their architects, with their planning to make sure that we're dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's. So right now, we're waiting for the chamber to get more information on that. But that will be October 30th is the plan at this point. I also want to mention that we are having a joint session on your calendars October 25th. It'll be 12 noon, and it's with the Reno County Commissioners and the city Hutchinson City Council. That is happening. It's very evident. The county administrator and I meet regularly. This is a great agenda and opportunity for us to have shared interest and work on shared projects together. And so I'm excited about that. I believe it'll be one of a couple that we'll have. And so we'll finalize that we have a draft agenda. We'll finalize that, Randy and I will, and get that all to you. But I'm looking forward to that, and that's a great movement. The city and the county are working very hard and working very well together. I'm very encouraged by a lot of the progress that we've made in a lot of different areas. So more to come on all of that. So I thank you for all the work and look forward to the 25th.
I have a comment before we move on. Sorry, Paul. And I don't want to, this is in regards to your comment, Mr. Fast. I don't want to poo-poo on keeping people safe or adding sidewalk, because we definitely need more sidewalks, especially where people are walking to essential services. But that just seems like a request that we have a lot of other high need areas that need sidewalks and need repairs. So while their intentions are good, by all means, I think if they want to fund a sidewalk, we can let them. They're federally funded anyway, so it's kind of our money no matter if we pour the sidewalk or they pour the sidewalk. But, I would just kind of say get in line. But
well, that's why I brought
that's
it up.
That's my 2 cents.
I don't know that, we
I think the fair thing to do is get the economics and make an informed decision.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're
Yeah.
at. So.
And even if Prairie Star wants to do that, we would have to figure out where the easements are.
Sure.
And
We would have to put in some work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And when I brought this up, I thought the same thing. I thought, man, we've got all these sidewalks that
Yeah,
need.
we have a lot of people who
yeah.
want sidewalks, who have good intentions, who also have a business that people are walking to, or that, down wherever in town. We have a sidewalk program that maxed out and has a waiting list for next year already. So
Right.
I think there's definitely a need for additional sidewalks.
You may end up with homeowners that don't want the sidewalk in their front yard either.
Well, there's only 2 or 3 there.
There's
Yeah.
a couple.
But those are all factors to take into account.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that
Or
up.
maybe
because-
is that area better served? Yeah, I mean, no, never mind. I was going to
Yeah.
say put in a crosswalk, but that's way too close to the highway, and
Yeah,
there's
that's
already
hard.
one
Yeah.
over there. But never mind. Just thinking out loud. So that's all.
Thank you. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I second.
Please call roll.
Garza,
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.